They told me success is simple. Wake up early, stay disciplined, cut distractions, and life will finally start working like a machine that has been waiting for you to press the right button. What they didn't mention is that the machine is fine, it's the operator that keeps switching tabs mid-operation. So I followed everything. I built routines, schedules, alarms, reminders, backup reminders for reminders. For a moment, I felt like I had unlocked a new version of myself. Then I realized I was not disciplined, I was just organized at failing consistently. The first days always lie to you. You wake up early and feel powerful. You drink water like it is a life transformation ritual. You even start thinking you are different from everyone else. That feeling lasts exactly until your first distraction appears. And then success crossed the road. No drama, no warning, just calm movement like it already knew I would not speed up in time. It didn't run away, it simply maintained its pace while I started negotiating with my own laziness. I kept chasing anyway, because that is what everyone says to do. But I noticed something strange. The harder I chased, the more I felt like I was stuck in emotional traffic. A lot of movement, zero distance covered. Stay here, because this is where most people waste years. They confuse effort with progress. They confuse movement with direction, and they confuse being tired with being productive. That confusion is expensive. Let's be honest, you are not lazy. Laziness would actually be easier to fix. You are something worse. You are constantly busy with things that feel important but have no real destination attached to them. Notifications trained your brain to treat everything as urgent. A message feels like a crisis, a video feels like information, a scroll feels like rest. But in reality, your attention is just being auctioned in real time. Now imagine I am your teacher. Lesson 1 is simple. Success is not complex, it is repetition over time. But humans reject repetition because it feels too slow compared to the speed of their expectations. You plan your day like a strategist. You feel proud, but planning gives emotional reward without requiring physical effort, so your brain gets satisfied early and quietly reduces your urgency to act. Then one distraction appears, one small, harmless break. You tell yourself it is temporary, but temporary is the most dangerous word in modern life because it never respects its own limits. Suddenly, your entire timeline shifts. 5 minutes becomes 40, 40 becomes a missing day, and you justify it by saying you needed rest, even though rest never asked to last that long. If you understand this properly, you gain something powerful, awareness of your actual behavior patterns. Not the version you imagine, but the version that repeats automatically when you aren't paying attention. Motivation is not the issue. Motivation is random by design. It was never meant to be stable. It comes like weather. The mistake is building your entire life expecting sunshine every day. Discipline is not emotional, it is mechanical repetition of action regardless of internal resistance. That is why it feels uncomfortable at first. It forces you to act without asking for permission from your feelings. The real destruction comes from micro decisions, not big failures. Small, harmless delays. One delay becomes habit, habit becomes identity, and identity quietly decides your future long before you do. And because everything happens slowly, you never feel the damage happening in real time. That is the illusion. You feel normal every day while slowly drifting away from your goals without noticing the direction change. You end the day exhausted, not from progress, but from constant switching. Your brain processed too many inputs, but produced almost no output. It's like running a computer with 100 tabs open and wondering why nothing saves. Success is not chasing you. It is simply moving forward at a steady pace. It does not adjust for your mood. It does not slow down for your excuses. It just continues. And continuation always wins in the long run. You already know what to do. That is the irony. Most people are not confused, they're just inconsistent with what they already understand clearly. Knowledge is not missing, execution is.
But execution feels boring compared to searching for new methods. So instead of doing the simple thing repeatedly, you start collecting information like it is progress itself. Shortcuts feel intelligent because they remove discomfort, but they always reset you back to zero because they skip the only thing that actually matters: repetition long enough to compound. Meanwhile, someone else is doing the boring thing daily. No excitement, no motivation wave, just repetition. And slowly, their boring actions turn into visible results. That is the truth nobody likes. Consistency is invisible at first. It does not give emotional reward early, but it is the only thing that creates results that last longer than feelings. Your brain, however, demands early proof. If results are not visible fast enough, it assumes failure and forces you to restart, not because you're wrong, but because patience was never trained. So you restart again and again, not from failure, but from impatience disguised as strategy. Every restart resets momentum and makes progress feel impossible even when it's actually building underneath. That's where frustration is born, not from lack of effort, but from interrupted effort that never reaches compounding stage. It's like watering a plant and digging it up every 2 days to check progress. Success is not far. It is just behind the point where most people quit, that invisible line where effort stops feeling rewarding but starts becoming powerful. In the next part, I will show you the psychological traps that silently reset your discipline every week, the patterns you repeat without noticing that keep you stuck in the same loop. And once you see them clearly, you will stop thinking you're failing randomly. You will realize you were following a system that felt normal but was quietly controlling your direction the entire time.
Now that you understand the basic illusion, let's go deeper, because the real reason you are stuck is not obvious. It is not laziness, not lack of time, not even lack of opportunity. It is the invisible system you repeat every single day without noticing. Every morning, you restart your life mentally. New plans, new motivation, new promises. But physically, you repeat almost the same actions as yesterday. That gap between intention and action is where your entire problem lives. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Your brain is not trying to make you successful. Your brain is trying to make you comfortable, even if comfort slowly destroys your future. That is why every serious task feels heavy, not because it is hard, but because your brain does not recognize it as familiar. And unfamiliar feels like danger, even when it's actually progress. So instead of doing the important thing, your brain offers alternatives, easier tasks, quick wins, small dopamine activities that feel productive but change nothing. If you are still watching, good, because now we enter the part most people never escape, the loop. The pattern that repeats your entire life without asking for permission. You start the day with energy, then one small delay happens. That delay creates emotional resistance. Now starting feels harder than before, so you delay again, and the loop begins. And the worst part is how normal it feels. You don't even notice you are stuck in a loop. You just think you are having a slow day. But slow days repeated become slow life. Now let's talk about the distraction system. It is not random. It is designed. Every app, every notification, every scroll mechanism is built to interrupt exactly when your focus starts to stabilize. That is why you can sit down to work and suddenly remember something random like checking your phone, even when nothing important happened. That's not coincidence. That is conditioning. And each interruption resets your mental momentum. So even if you return to work, you are not continuing. You are restarting at a lower level every single time. Over time, this creates a strange identity, a person who is always about to start, always planning, always preparing, but rarely actually deep in action long enough to matter. This is where people get confused.
They think they are working hard because they are always engaged in something, but engagement is not progress if it never produces output. Now let's expose another trap: fake productivity. This is when you do easy tasks to avoid difficult ones and convince yourself the day was successful because you were busy. The brain loves fake productivity because it gives emotional satisfaction without risk. It feels safe, it feels productive, but it quietly protects you from growth. And here is the ironic part. You end the day tired, so your brain says you worked hard, but tiredness does not equal progress. Even running in circles is exhausting. This creates a dangerous belief. I tried everything, but nothing works. But in reality, you tried many things, just not the same important thing consistently enough. Now let's talk about identity loops. The strongest trap is not what you do, it is what you believe you are, because identity silently organizes behavior to match it automatically, not because it is true, but because it is familiar. And breaking identity feels uncomfortable because suddenly you are no longer predictable to yourself, and the brain hates unpredictability more than failure. That is why change feels difficult even when the steps are simple. It is not the action, it is the identity resistance attached to it. But here is the truth no one tells you. You are not fixed, you are repeated behavior, and repeated behavior can be rewritten, but only through repetition again, not motivation. Now let's destroy another illusion: waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment never arrives because it is created through action, not before it. People wait for clarity before starting, but clarity comes after action, not before it, so they stay confused while waiting for understanding that only movement creates. And while you wait, life does not pause, it continues moving, so you are not standing still, you are actually being carried backward relative to others moving forward. This is why time feels fast when you are distracted, because nothing is anchored by progress, so days blend together without memory points. But when you act consistently, even small actions, time feels structured again, because progress creates memory anchors in your brain. Now, here's the turning point. You do not need a new life. You need one stable direction long enough for results to form. Not intensity, direction. In the next part, I will show you how to escape this loop, step by step. No motivation tricks, no fake inspiration, just simple systems that break the cycle permanently. And once you exit, you will realize something strange. The life you thought required effort to reach was actually always reachable. You were just restarting before arrival.
You made it to the final part, which is interesting because most people do not make it this far in real-life decisions. They restart instead. But now we are not restarting anymore. We are rebuilding. Everything you have seen so far leads to one conclusion. Your problem is not knowledge. Your problem is not ability. Your problem is repetition without structure. So let's fix it in the simplest way possible. Not complicated, not motivational, just mechanical, because your life right now is already mechanical, just in the wrong direction. First rule: stop negotiating with your mornings. The first hour of your day decides whether you lead your life or react to it. If your first action is distraction, the entire day inherits that identity. If your first action is focus, the day stabilizes around it. Second rule: reduce options. The more choices you have,